Archer there with fire for Papa Steve's Pick of the Week. Dad, always a pleasure. We'll catch you again next week for the kitchen session.
See you next week.
Up next, we're getting to know Chris Morris, but now it's time for the news. ABC News on the hour, every hour. ABC Local Radio. This is ABC News with Karen Waring. Labor has clinched victory in the Victorian state election. The ABC's election data shows the Labor Party has so far taken out 47 seats compared to the Coalition's 37, with nearly 58% of the votes counted. In claiming victory, the Labor leader, Daniel Andrews, told the party faithful he would not let down the state.
The people of Victoria have today given to us the greatest of gifts, entrusted to us the greatest of responsibilities, and bestowed upon us the greatest of honours. And ladies and gentlemen, we will not let them down.
The outgoing Premier, Dennis Napthine, said he will stand down as a Liberal leader.
It is time for renewal. It is time for change. Can I say absolutely that the Liberal Party has an enormous amount of talent and skill and ability.
The Immigration Minister has played down criticism levelled at the federal government by the United Nations Committee Against Torture. Releasing its country report in Geneva, the committee says the mandatory detention of adults and children at camps in Nauru and Manus Island should be stopped. It warned the government's turnback policy posed a risk to those genuine asylum seekers fleeing persecution. But Immigration Minister Scott Morrison says the government's actions are consistent with international obligations.
I don't find our border protections embarrassing because they're saving lives. I'll tell you what's embarrassing. 80,000 people coming, 800 boats and 1,200 people dying because the government didn't have the ticket to deal with their border protection people. And we're absolutely satisfied that we've applied for our obligations.
The Syrian Foreign Minister has said that 2 months of US airstrikes have failed to weaken the Islamic State militant group. Speaking to Lebanese television, Walid al-Mu'allim said the only way to tackle the jihadists was to force Turkey to tighten its border controls. The BBC's Jim Muir reports from Beirut.
The Americans and a small number of Arab allies have carried out fewer than 300 airstrikes in Syria since they began in September. Walid al-Mu'allim said the attacks had failed to weaken the radical organisation. He turned his sights on Turkey, accusing it of fostering the militants and facilitating their passage across the border. Sealing that, the Syrian minister said, would be the only way of tackling the problem.
A court in Egypt has dropped a murder case against former President Hosni Mubarak. The judge has cleared the ousted leader on charges of conspiring to kill protesters during the 2011 uprising. Mubarak was convicted in 2012, but last year an appeals court overturned his life sentence on technical grounds. The Chinese intellectual and reformist Zhao Xuan has died from cancer. Mr. Zhao was part of the government's negotiating team seeking a peaceful resolution to the Tiananmen Square protests in 1989. The BBC's Michael Bristow has more details.
Zhao Xuan helped reshape China after the death of Mao Zedong. He drafted the country's first bankruptcy law. It was a rare time of genuine intellectual freedom in communist China, but that ended in 1989 with the crushing of the Tiananmen protesters. Zhao Xuan was involved in trying to peacefully end the demonstrations, then accused of being involved in them. He was detained for a year. Afterwards, he campaigned for gradual political and legal reform, but the authorities were by then in no mood to listen.
The first cricket test between Australia and India has been postponed to allow players, officials and fans time to grieve over the death of cricketer Philip Hughes. Lucas Fountain reports.
Cricket Australia has released a statement in which it says it is neither fair nor feasible to begin the test match in Brisbane on Thursday, the day after Hughes' funeral in his hometown of Maxville in northern New South Wales. The decision was made in consultation with the players, the Australian Cricketers Association and officials in India. Cricket Australia says it hopes to announce details of the postponed test in the next few days, and supporters who've already purchased tickets should hold on to them. Cricket Australia will also hold a meeting early next week to discuss arrangements for round 5 of the Sheffield Shield, which is due to start on Friday.
The weather, Brisbane, mostly sunny 28 degrees. Sydney showers, a possible thunderstorm 29. Canberra showers, a storm likely 30. Melbourne, humid, a possible afternoon storm 34. Hobart, drizzle at times 18. Adelaide, a possible shower 35. Perth, mostly sunny 27. Darwin, a shower or 2 and a possible storm 32. For more news, go to abc.net.au/news.
Saturday Night Country with Catherine Britt on ABC Local Radio.
Welcome back to the show. And now, it's time for this.
Getting to know you better. Getting to know you better. Well, there may be some things I want to talk about, but I'll make you talk about them anyhow. Time for getting to know.
That's right. It's time for Getting to Know. And this week, we are getting to know a good friend of the show. He's been on here a time or two, but he's just released a new album, so he's here to play us some new tunes. And tonight, we're getting to know him just a little bit better. Chris Morris, welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me back.
It's a pleasure. How many times have you been here?
About 57.
Yeah. You've been other people's
3.
guitar players and on the show solo and
Boyfriend.
Yeah, boyfriend, supporter.
Student. We're Bill's here.
Okay,
I'm
right.
Bill's student.
I was wondering.
I know.
Well, look, we're going to start right at the very beginning. I've kind of not really gotten to know you that well, so this will be good. We'll get to find out everything about you. Let's start at the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I grew up on the Central Coast. I was born in Gosford Hospital in the fine year of 1976.
No, the 70s.
Yeah, I'm a 70s boy.
Yep.
I grew up in a little spot called Yamina.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And which was a lovely spot to grow up near the beach.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up there. Went through primary and high school there, and pretty much lived on the coast until I moved away and lived in London for 7 years or so, and then moved back to the coast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Came back home.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah. Is all your family still around that area?
Pretty much. Not like in exactly the same spot, but kind of around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you come from a musical family at all?
Yeah, my dad is a great guitar player.
Okay.
So always had guitars in the house, and he's still playing the same Telecaster that we've always had.
Awesome.
I think he got that in 78, so that's always been in the house, that Telecaster, which is in the will for me. That's pretty squared off. That's all agreed. So I still get to play it now whenever I like.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, that one is going to become mine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So was your dad a songwriter or a musician, or he just did it for fun?
No, he was like, I guess in the 70s, he was in like some sort of rock and roll bands, like some sort of bluesy kind of rock and roll bands that were on the coast at the time, and so he did that. There's some epic photos of him with massive afros and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess then he sort of moved away a bit from music, but still is always playing and has a studio set up in his man cave and all that sort of stuff. And we still, love talking guitars and all that. So, yeah.
So Christmas would be fun at your house?
Yeah.
A jam?
Yeah. We don't jam as much. We used to play all the time. But I'd like to get back to that. Lots of people say, like, they have heard me play guitar and then they hear Dad play guitar. They go, oh, okay.
Right.
I get it. Yeah.
A lot of
so you stole all your Dad's licks.
Yeah. That works,
so
right? Carry it on.
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess that's how you discovered music, through your dad and what he was playing?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was probably a little
a little weird in a way. Like I definitely, picked up the guitar bug kind of young. I did the classic thing where I said I pestered Dad for some guitar lessons when I was really young, and then I cried because I hurt my fingers too much, and then I came back to it when I was in my early, I think I was 12 when I got my first nylon string guitar. Had to pay my dues on the nylon string for a couple of years.
Hurt fingers.
Yeah, and then once I'd said I'd proved that I was going to really go for it, they got me my first Strat when I was 14.
Yeah.
I think. So, there's always music, there's always a guitar in the house. But there's, I guess, a bit of a funny thing that we didn't, it was a very religious kind of household, so we didn't have an epic album collection, or anything like that. There was kind of a bit of a thing where we just had a few weird Christian records.
Okay.
And then things that slipped through would be some of Bob Dylan's gospel kind of records.
Yep.
So The Slow Train Coming, that was a record that I just clung to because it was the quality record in the collection, and it has Mark Knopfler playing all over it and great songs and stuff. So and then I guess when I got into my teens and I fully was just guitar crazy, that's when I pushed, I guess, and started to find my own influences and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So were you allowed to bring in your Satan record?
Yeah, it was my parents are totally cool. They weren't too crazy with it, but it was kind of and my dad would always still talk about some of his favourite guitar players, but it just kind of wasn't when I talk to some of my other music friends and they talk about the record collection and what that meant to
growing up on music.
I didn't really have that. I remember the first cassette that I bought with my own money was a Hendrix compilation thing, which I bought and took home. And I remember Mum going, he was good, but and she'd recommend some other Christian guitar players. Just to put that into the mix.
Yeah. So you took it all on board.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so what artist inspired you really early on when you first started out? What was your pinnacle, I want to be like that?
Yeah, I was totally a guitar nerd. And so, through my teenage years, I wasn't really into the music that my friends were listening to at school. I wasn't into the music my parents were listening to. But I totally got into the real late 60s blues kind of stuff, and so Hendrix and Clapton and all of that sort of stuff. I just lived and breathed all of that.
Yeah.
And then moving on a little bit, got into Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff. So it was just blues, really. I totally loved it, and I learnt the records back to front and all of that sort of stuff.
So firstly a guitar player, and then later a singer, or?
Yeah, definitely. It took me a while, I think, to find my own voice with that and my own, confidence with that. I found it really easy to take my guitar somewhere and turn up and just play. But yeah, to really, and I think that has been a work in progress. That's been my life's work in a way, is figuring that out. And I feel that's really only happened quite late in my life, and this record in particular, I feel, that's me. That's totally me.
Right.
So I think that's a good way to view your art, not to think that, whatever you were at 18 or whatever you had the confidence to do, to always be growing into it. But as you change as a person, that affects your art as well. And I feel that kind of stuff has been kind of in parallel, me figuring myself out as a person, lots of stuff going on, but me going, that is Chris Morris, this is who I am. And now that I kind of really have figured that out, that translates into my music.
Definitely.
Because I know this is what I'm all about. You know, I don't have to make apologies for it. It's just, it is what it is, you know? Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Yeah, it's real exciting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when did you start songwriting? Did that come later as well?
Yeah,
or?
that would have come later. I would say probably really late teens, early 20s kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you had things to write about.
Yeah.
Girls who broke your heart and life experience a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Like, just, and again, that was a little confidence thing about, you know, I've always enjoyed writing and stuff like that, but the next step of putting that out in front of people, I think that's probably a little trick for musicians that are primarily a player, is coming out from behind your instrument and exposing yourself.
Sure.
And particularly if you feel really confident with that thing and you can do that and people dig it and then you go, but I'm going to try this new thing. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Well, it's a little different thing too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being the guitar player and being the front man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, was there a defining moment for you when you sort of went, yeah, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to be a musician or I'm going to make that my life and I'm going to make art.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where that happened for you?
I think that is, for me, that is a constant making that decision all the time.
Right.
I don't think, and it's a process as well, so, or a journey in a way, and I think that's happened lots of times in my life where I've veered off track here.
Right, yeah.
And I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And I need to come back to the things that make my soul happy.
Yeah.
And that is always music.
Yeah.
And there's been big moments where that has happened along the way. And, you know, just coming back and going, hey, this is what I love, this is what comes so naturally to me, is writing and playing and singing and performing, and got to come back to it and make it my priority. Yeah.
That's very cool. Did you ever pursue anything else? Did you go to uni? Or?
Oh, I did go to uni and I studied politics.
Nice. Okay.
Because I really fancied that I could make a difference. No, that's not true. That's not true. Not true at all.
Okay.
Because
like Eddie?
no, I did go to uni.
Okay.
I did study politics.
Sure.
But
not to make a difference.
Not to make a difference. Because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And I was kind of young going through school, and I was like, I got to go to uni.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. What can I study where I only have to go to uni and for like maybe one day of lectures?
Politics.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't finish the degree. I actually got into third year, and then it got really hard, and I went, I'm out.
I hope it does.
It got really hard. But like the first year, I smashed it. I actually got an award.
Oh, wow.
Second year, it dropped down to passes.
Yeah.
And then third year, I was just like,
see you later.
Whoa. I don't want that.
Right. That's interesting. Okay. Politics to music, it all kind of ties in. Do you ever get political with your music?
Never.
No.
Never. I tried to write a song about the environment and I played it to someone and they just laughed at me like, you do not do stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So no political statements.
And they know that I'm not that guy.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I eat Big Macs. You know, it's not natural. But I felt I could probably do it if I put my mind to it. But it didn't really make any sense.
You listen to enough Steve Earle records, maybe.
Yeah.
You'll come out with something.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, let's hear some music. You were going to talk about your new record, Ruins, coming up, but are you going to play something new for us?
Yes.
Or something? Yes, okay. What are you going to do?
Oh, you confused me now. I thought, what was she expecting me to play?
Nothing. No expectation.
I don't even know.
No.
All right, I'm going to do a song called Fear, Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to know why it's called Part 2?
I really do, yes.
It's because I wrote another song called The Fear, co-wrote with a friend called Cam McKellar.
Yep.
But his song, The Fear, or the song we wrote, was all about kind of media fear, like things that they're trying to make us scared of. That's a song I would never write by myself either. It's quite political.
Yeah.
I would never write that. Never. But I thought, then I wrote this song, The Fear, which was a little bit more about, you know, personal anxiety type stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I can't really steal his song title. I need to give him a little nod.
Yeah.
Like, I'm writing The Fear too, but it's different.
Yeah.
So it's part 2, but I wanted to be able to bring it up that we co-wrote that song when I talk about it.
Right.
So here I am.
Bringing it up. Giving credit.
Giving a little,
The Fear one.
little tip of the hat.
Well, we'd love to hear The Fear part 2, Chris Morris.
Thank you. I've been running on the spot, chasing, not catching on. Stumbling on myself and all my words. I feel cursed. Lost myself in compromise. Have truth and some lies. I'm trying to remind myself why I walked in this room. And I'm not surprised I'm here when I've been here so long that I let it get to this point. I'm cut down by the fear. I haven't moved in years that I resolved to carry on. Cut down by the fear. My faith disappeared and I resolved to carry on. Sweating just to pay the bills. Got no high, yeah, I lost all my thrills. Harsh words steer me from things I should do.